Welcome to The Explainer. We are jumping straight in today because we're unpacking a seriously fascinating text. We're looking at the philosophical teachings of Xu Weng, specifically a piece called Those Who Weigh Gains and Losses Are Not Celestial Beings. And we're going to explore a really provocative idea here. What if our modern obsession with calculating every single move, constantly weighing the pros and cons of our lives, what if that is the exact thing holding us back from true spiritual freedom?
Let's start with a super relatable human quirk the author points out, wanting both a raincoat and an umbrella. I mean, we do this all the time, right? Survival in this world is tough, so we're constantly weighing our options. We want the absolute best of both worlds, and we want a backup plan for literally everything. The text points out that even when we're already wearing a raincoat, we still want to carry an umbrella, just in case. We naturally just gravitate toward whatever benefits us the most in that exact moment. And honestly, this perfectly illustrates our core conflict. On one hand, we deeply long for this celestial paradise, that carefree, enlightened existence. But on the other hand, we are totally plagued by human hesitation. The text argues that when a true celestial actually shows up to lead us to that paradise, we just freeze, we hesitate, we overthink, we doubt, we absolutely refuse to let go of our current safety nets because we just assume the sun and moon will always shine. So we choose the safest, most calculated path and completely miss the magic of the opportunity right in front of us.
Which brings us to our first major theme, seizing the present moment and the urgency of now.
Since the past is entirely unrecoverable and the future is basically unreachable, let's look at how this builds into the direct pipeline of our existence. According to the text, it's a three-step progression. First, you have your present state. And the text is super absolute about this. If your present is ugly, your future will be ugly. If it's beautiful, the future will be beautiful. Simple as that. This leads right into step 2, your state at the moment of death. Whatever exact state you're in at that precise moment acts as a bridge. And that bridge determines the final step, your future after death. Your present is literally shaping your eternity.
Because of that pipeline, we've got to ask ourselves a really urgent question. If you do not accumulate virtue now, when will you? Life is incredibly fleeting. The text warns us that waiting for tomorrow or pinning all our hopes on some distant imaginary future, well, that's just chasing a total illusion. You really have to do the work today.
And that brings up a second, equally demanding question. If you do not let go now, when will you let go? The whole pacing of this philosophy is purposefully designed to jolt us awake. It reminds us that, hey, we can't foresee the next second. Heaven might bring sudden storms. Misfortune can strike at dawn or dusk without any warning whatsoever. Clinging to our carefully calculated safety nets, ultimately, it's just pointless.
And here is the final question in the sequence. If you do not become a celestial now, when will you ever become one? The text is really stern about this part. We can't just lazily sit around waiting for miracles to drop from the sky. We can't just dream of a bright future arriving with zero effort. In fact, when we get smug and think we can just coast by, we're actually squandering all the blessings we've accumulated from past lives. We're literally planting the seeds for our own future suffering.
So, what is the right path then? Let's explore Section 2, the trap of cleverness, and why rationality fails.
Now brace yourself for this one, because the text takes a pretty shocking anti-intellectual stance here. It explicitly states that philosophers, pure scientists, shrewd people, and endless theorists simply cannot become celestials. Even the clever folks who always think 3 steps ahead? Yeah, they're excluded too. The core argument is that being overly rational actually destroys your spiritual insight. Anyone who spends their days theorizing, juggling abstract concepts, or constantly scheming for an advantage, they are fundamentally cut off from the celestial path.
If we throw out all that over-rationalizing, what's left? That brings us to Section 3, the celestial mindset, and living by spiritual essence. So how do you actually achieve this mindset? How do you stop waking up in a panic asking, what if I starve tomorrow? Well, you embrace this incredibly blunt reality. Everyone has a death sentence, only the execution date differs. I know, it's an intense thought, but it instantly lowers the stakes of our daily anxieties, doesn't it? The text basically says, starve, let it be. Die, so be it. What's the big deal? When you really internalize that the final destination is fixed for every single one of us, you stop exhausting your brain worrying about survival or honor or disgrace. Instead, a true celestial just expresses their innate nature and considers absolutely nothing else.
This perfectly sets up our fourth and ultimate goal, surrendering to the Tao and achieving cosmic freedom.
Those on the celestial path recognize that everything operates within the grand flow of the Tao. If you're out there hyper-calculating every little thing, you're basically like a frog at the bottom of a well. You are totally missing the universal balance at play. It begs the question, do earthly gains actually cause cosmic losses? The source argues that when we greedily weigh the pros and cons just to profit today, we might literally be losing our blessings for the next life. If we take advantage of others, we inevitably suffer a loss from the Tao. It even questions if greedily consuming animals diminishes our own spiritual essence. Basically, every calculated gain on Earth has a hidden cosmic cost.
But the good news is, we really don't need to fear this balance. Why? Because as the text states, the good may be deceived by people, but never by heaven. The wicked may be feared by people, but not by heaven. This is hugely reassuring. It emphasizes that heaven never cuts off anyone's path. Nature nurtures all things, and the Tao governs it all. And because of that profound safety net, we don't need to desperately scheme and plot just to survive in this world.
So the crucial takeaway here is this stark contrast between the rational human and the celestial. We have to trade being clever for being simple. We have to trade being complex for being pure. We literally have to abandon our scheming and just act straightforwardly. Instead of endlessly weighing our gains and losses until we're exhausted, the text advises just handing your life over to the greatest creator. Just let the destiny of the Tao gently carry you forward.
I want to leave you with this final, really beautiful thought to reflect on today. Should humans be any less free than flowers and birds? The author points out that flowers bloom with absolute grace, entirely unburdened by worry. Birds soar and nest freely through the forest, totally unrestrained. If nature can exist so effortlessly in the flow of the Tao, maybe it's time we put down our calculators, let go of our endless cleverness, and simply allow ourselves to live. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope it gives you something profound to chew on today.